Welcome to Agency for Agents, a podcast for real estate team leaders and independent brokerage owners looking to maximize profits, effectiveness, and gain freedom for their team and business. Your hosts, Christine Andreasen and Aaron Hendon, have been running one of the most successful real estate teams in the Seattle area for more than 8 years. They know building a winning team means finding ways to empower, nurture, train, and develop individual agents to discover their own power, their own agency. On the podcast, Christine and Aaron interview thought leaders in real estate and personal growth to help you impact both your performance and your teams. We know it takes a lot, and leaders and brokers that crack that code reap the rewards of success greater than any they could ever achieve on their own. All right, well, so Jennifer, just start by introducing yourself, give some background, where you come from, your journey to be the anti-team leader. I'm very interested in.
/ Czarina of real estate. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good.
Well, I have been in real estate. Let's see, I started off as an investor in 2008-ish. Mm-hmm. And then I got my real estate license in 2010. And been a real estate agent ever since. I've grown teams and then killed them and then tried it 18 more times and then killed them all. And here I am, the anti-team. I just think there's a better way to do it. And it's not the way that you think. I think that's really more anti-traditional way. MREA book. Yeah. Contrarian, yes.
Good. All right. Well, let's talk about that because, let's get into it because what do you think works and what do you think not works about teams, the way they're structured the traditional way, and how have you worked it out for yourself?
Okay. Well, my biggest beef is that most people will name the team after themselves. Mm-hmm. I think it's common to do that because that's like how everybody does it. But I think just because everybody else is doing it does not mean that that should be the way that you do it. You've got to think for yourself. So our team, I think, we're called Team Synergy, but it depends on your goal too. So most team leaders, they want a lot of ego. And I think people build teams so that they can have ego. They could be like, hey, look what I have. I have all these people, whatever, working for me. And it's like, that's just not even what it's about. You know what I mean? It's about servicing the client. It's about helping everyone involved, the agent. It's not about your ego. Mm-hmm. So naming it is important. What do you call it? Right? And I think it should be called something other than you. But I also think when you have these big teams, my second biggest kind of soapbox, I guess, is the way that we're taught to build out these teams is not profitable. I know that you have guests and they are profitable, right? But what is the portion of, there's 1.8 million real estate agents that have a license in the US, not even counting people outside of the US. How many of them are truly have a profitable team? Hardly any. Your guests represent not that. I don't even know if it'd be 1%.
I have no basis upon which to guess, but it for sure it's a tricky path to walk for sure. Talk about your experience of what, where you discovered it not to be profitable and how you sorted it out,
Well, so I read the MREA book, which is the big red book about teams. And I was sucked in immediately because my goal was I never wanted it to be about me. I like the money, right? And so my initial thought was, and I also got into real estate to create my own retirement plan through investing in property. That was my whole plan. Make a bunch of money, invest in property, retire early. And Aaron, you're the first to know, but I made my last payment, meaning that I can literally live off of that income from the rentals.
Isn't that great?
It's awesome. Technically retired, right? So I think that, I got excited there for a minute. And
That's awesome. Congratulations.
I lost track. Thank you. Okay. So I read the book and I was like, okay, if I'm going to start a team, it seems like that would be in the income line because you bring people in, they're real estate agents, they should they should sell houses. What didn't occur to me, which I don't know why, because I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but it was just like, oh, actually like 90% of the agents sell less than like 5 houses. So like agents selling houses is not a logical thought.
Right.
Okay. So if they don't sell houses and they're on my team, like what the hell are they doing? They're costing me money. Yep. And not only are they costing me money because these are the same people that ask 1,000 questions but never do anything with it. And it doesn't result in a sold house. And if it does, it only happens once, maybe every 2 months, maybe, right? That would be 6 houses. Then they're costing me money to support them through infrastructure, through getting leads, through support, through all this stuff. And also there's an opportunity cost, which means what am I not doing by helping them? And what I was not doing by helping them was generating leads, which is what I'm good at, which is why I sold a bunch of houses. Mm-hmm. So it's like, there was exponentially more expensive for me to have team members than to build this team. So then you have a thought, okay, well, let me get in somebody who enjoys coaching and training, right? Like maybe take on a partner or something like that. But the amount of people that do not sell houses but have a license is extraordinarily large.
Yes, it's a huge amount. Well, I assume it's the 80-20 principle.
I think it's like 90-10, right. But even so, 85-15.
Well,
right?
just even if it was 80-20, still it's 20% of all the agents in the world do 80% of the business.
Exactly. Okay. So if you have 20% of those agents, and let's say half of them are like really just want to be on their own, or they want to be like whatever. And then you only have half left, which is still, right. It's probably less than that, but let's just say it's still half, right? Like, do they live in your area? Do they want to be on a team? Right. And that was like one of also the first fallacies that I was like, oh, I am locked in to having a team that is in my area.
Right.
Like it has to be in my working area. Wrong. It's just not true.
It's wrong. That's right. With EXP, the model with EXP is that it's totally
wrong. But even when I was at KW, that was also not true, right? Because they started having, well, definitely not at EXP. It's way easier at EXP. But at Keller, like any of these companies, Coldwell Banker, they're technically international. They're technically in a lot of different states if you only want to do national, right? Mm-hmm. And you could have, so they started off doing these like, I forget what they called them, but basically like, your team in a different area. That was the thought process then.
Yes, right. What is this? The satellites.
Satellite type teams. Yeah. So, but that's not profitable either because you're still like supporting them. You still have to do all the branding. You still have to hire an admin. Now it's like also travel time. It's like all of these costs. And that's like the biggest, I feel like I'm on a rant. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. This is what I'm really interested in. I'm really passionate about.
I'm so passionate. I think it's so dumb. So like, then that's like, and why are we in business? We are not in business to not make a profit. Every time we give somebody an award, it's like, oh, your gross commission income. I want to know what your net commission income is. Right. Like there is a huge difference between gross and net. And if you don't know that, the gross is the big number. The net is after you do your split with your brokerage, which don't even get me started on, we shouldn't have brokerages, but if you're going to have them, be with the best one. But after that, after all your expenses, after everything, your pictures, like everything, after paying your taxes, which you should be doing, what do you have left to live on? And why do we not talk about that?
Yeah, everything is GCI. None of it is.
It's insanity.
It is insanity.
It's insanity. So we were spending $10,000 a month on radio ads. I had like 12 of our team. Well, there was 12 team members. Like 4 of them were like admin or on some type of salary, right? And then we were like also giving agents to like attract agents that have more experience, but we're quiet in that maybe like a half cap. And we were hoping that like we could train them to be cappers or, double their sales. We were like, come with us. We'll give you like a base salary for a few months and blah, blah. Like we tried all these things and it was just like, oh my God, it's so expensive. And for what?
Right.
So EXP came along. Actually, while I was traveling the world, I was in Morocco, making my phone calls, generating leads. It was so awesome. People were yelling outside at each other because that's how they talk in Morocco. And I was like, we learned about EXP from my co-host on our podcast, Monica Weekly. And I was like, holy shit, this is the new way to do teams. So we can work together and collaborate without having the responsibility and the liability. The profitability, just when we made that change, the profitability just shot through the roof. Like, it's insanity how much more profitable we are. Like, we are regularly above 65% profit margin. That's huge. When before we were like in the red 65%. It felt like, you know what I mean? It was like every day was in the red.
And when you say your team, this is people in your organization, your EXP organization.
Yeah.
And do you provide anything for them? TCs or leads? Nothing. So it's just,
here's what I do. Here's what I think. Like, most people get into real estate because they like the independence of, they like the idea of the independence of real estate, or they say they like houses or something else, right?
I love the people that love houses.
Oh my God, that makes me crazy. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, whatever your reason is, it's not to like, it's not to have a job necessarily, right? Because it's not, there's no jobs. So, well, there is anyway. So the people that come in, I want to support them when and where they need to be supported. So most of the people come into our organization because they see like the life that I live with the traveling and the building teams internationally. Like, we just opened Colombia. We have a partner in Colombia now. Now, he's not on Team Synergy, right? But like, he's still in our group, because when he does, because of the model at EXP, when he does well, we do well.
Right.
So before, when I was helping coach and train agents, it was like a lot of, they were taking a lot of like an ATM, like they were just taking. And it was, even though I was getting like paid on like the first 3 transactions or the first year or whatever it was never enough for the time. Because if you're a real estate agent and you do well, you generally know your dollar per hour. And for me, it's between $300 and $400 per hour. And I just wasn't getting paid that by coaching them, right? But with the revenue share and how EXP sets up the model, it totally works. So like,
and what's the difference between someone on Team Synergy and someone in your organization? Talk to me how you distinguish those.
So that's, well, there's only 2 people in Team Synergy, and we're actually partners. So we're actual business partners. And he was on, it's Alan Wisman. Hey, Alan. He was on my team. I coached and trained him when he first became an agent. So we've been working together for like 6 or 8 years. I don't know. It's been a long time, but him and I we are actually like partners. So we share expenses and we share profit. Somebody in the revenue share group, like, I can help them become better at what they're trying to do, help them realize their vision through some tweaks. And then I make a portion of whatever they pay to EXP. I make a portion of that from EXP,
right,
when they sell. And also when they have other people in their rev share group too.
Right. Yeah. So for Team Synergy, it's really just you and Alan. And that's it.
That's it. We have a transaction coordinator and we have 2 VAs, but like, those are not on our team. Like, they are a vendor. They're all vendors.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So really, you really are like the anti-team, and then the EXP model really is just, this is a little bit like what GoGo Bethke does, is, you just have an outstanding organization. And do you get together with your organization on huddle calls, or do you?
Not really.
Not really. So there's really,
I mean, sometimes like I think that's like a personality thing, right? Like, there are some people that I talk to more often because we're actually friends, right? And then like, we have a partner in Portugal. So I see him like once a year. So I just booked my trip to go back to Portugal to see him. And also like, if I get leads for agents in Portugal, I send them to him because we're trying to build our organization there, right? Because that's cool, right? If I could have like, this is the vision. We're going to Spain next. So like Spain, Portugal, Latin America. So like Mexico, Colombia, whatever. Then I could just travel around for the whole year to those places, and the whole thing's expensed.
That's awesome.
I had to talk to the accountant about that to double check, but
great. We could definitely have offline conversations about building out internationally and what those conversations look like.
Well, what I found was it's not only like more profitable that way, but it actually helps everybody, because when I had a team before, in the old way, in the old model before EXP, it was like I would put my heart and soul into training these people, because I'm actually pro teamwork and I'm pro like working together and things like that. But it has to be mutually beneficial. Like there has to be as many deposits as there are withdrawals, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like pouring out. And then they would get good. And then it literally maybe didn't make sense for them to stay on the team. And maybe they wanted to, but it's like, it doesn't financially make sense. And we can still be friends, but like, why are you here?
It's awesome. It's great. It's such a solid perspective. It's a solid possible perspective. I mean, there are really team leaders that are profitable and are killing it and love what they do.
Yeah. I just think it's a small percentage.
Yeah. But there's whatever percentage it is. And then there's the people that are just in between trying to get it to work and somehow are left with they have to get it to work versus no, you actually don't have to get it to work. You could actually be independent and with EXP, whether, if you're not with EXP, great, do whatever you're going to do in your own brokerage and support that. And,
But I think, Aaron, though, it was interesting because something happened and I remember that it happened, but I don't remember what the trigger was. And it was when I changed my definition of success. So I thought, because I'm a child of the 80s, and in the 80s, it was big business. And, and I thought you had to have like a lot of people and you have to have this big name and you have to have all this stuff. And that was what success was. So I was like, oh, that's a clear path. I can get all these people. But then I like got these people and I was like, oh, no. I don't like this. Like, I don't want to be poor and this is a headache and I have a lot of gray hair and like, I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like people's emotional issues, like I just can't deal with it. So I was like, I was always looking like, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. And then luckily, like 10 years later was when we did find EXP. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh my God, this is more in line with like who I am, because we can still have culture. We can still have camaraderie. We can still work together. I mean, I do referrals and stuff like that to people, but I would do that anyway.
Right. Yeah. Everyone does that. Huh? No, it's great. I said, everyone does referrals. No one's referrals. So, but there really is this opportunity, just using EXP to create an organization, a global team. But really you're not global on the hook. Yeah, but you're not on the hook for anything. And you can empower and support anyone in whatever they need. Yeah. Right.
And even so, we had profit share, but the difference between revenue share and profit share is the same thing as the difference between gross and net. It's just such a huge difference.
It is the difference between gross and net. I mean, that's right. I mean, the people that don't deal with their net are sometimes satisfied with revenue, with profit share, which doesn't make any sense because now you're getting what's left over after someone else's profit.
Right. You're not even getting control of that profit.
Exactly. You don't even have any say about it. That's one of the things that really had us move was they were redoing the bullpen.
Yeah.
And so the office wasn't profitable.
Oh, right. So it's seriously. Like nobody's even at the office.
I know.
So why are you redoing this?
I'm not paying for. I don't use that. That's like crazy. I'm not paying for that. And yet, for months on end, no profit share. So,
but the truth is because since joining EXP, I had always had my vision of, I love traveling. So I've always had this vision. I just did not know how to do it. And none of the models provided it, right? EXP provides it. And now because of that, we are just making like a lot more money. It's a lot more fun. I'm finding that because I'm not like, oh, well, I'll see that person at the office. I'm like actually reaching out to people because nobody ever goes to the office. So I never saw the person, right? And I never reached out because I always had in my mind, well, I'll see them at the office, but I never did.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well now I'm like purposely reaching out and connecting with people that are more like-minded and can expand my thing. Because instead of being like this big fish in this pond, I'm like a small fish, like I'm dumb here. And I'm like, this is awesome. I want to be dumb, like teach me something. Like I want to learn, like I get to connect with people like you. Like we would never have connected.
Right. No, it's perfect, Jennifer. I love it. I love the fire about it. And it gives people another view, right? Something that we don't, because really the only people I interview are the successful team leaders that do have it working. So from my perspective, there's a lot of them because I talk to them all the time.
Right.
But in the big sea of things, I mean, that's survivor bias. So, that I'm only seeing the best. No one gets on the show is like, oh my God, my team just sucks. I hate them. I don't know what to do about it. Well, they don't, that no one comes like that. So, but for anyone listening that is struggling with that, it is really possible. Just dissolve the team. You could just dissolve it. You could just really let it go. You don't have to be a team leader. If it's not your thing, you don't have to do it. So I think
it's not working. Don't do it.
Right. Fabulous. All right. Well, Jennifer, I really do. I love it. The other question, the question I always end the show with is, what are you reading?
What am I reading right now? I just finished Donut Economics. Have you read this book?
No.
So interesting. It's about, I literally just finished it. So you know how, did you take an economics class or, it's like supply and demand, right? You have the chart that goes all the way up. And it's like, this is not a sustainable chart. Like up is not sustainable. It should be more donut economics, which is like everything coming together, like everything matters. Anyway, it's very interesting. I would highly recommend it.
Excellent. I love that kind of stuff. I am totally.
It's so good. Yeah.
I'm writing it down. Don't talk to me. Give me a second. Because I love Freakonomics Radio. It's like favorite podcast.
I love that podcast.
I'm just in love with it. So this sounds
There's
great.
Another one that's like Freakonomics, but it's not Freakonomics. Oh, I do also love this podcast, Eating Healthy for Busy Women.
Ooh.
So good. I mean, you don't have to be a woman to listen to it. It's just the girl that does it. Kat. She's amazing. Like she just makes your perspective change. And I think that's what it's all about, right? It's like, if something's not working for you, you probably just need a different perspective.
Right. Or to take different actions and be freed up to not keep doing what you think.
Perspective will pull you to the actions, right? Because like my perspective, we always use the cold calling example. Like my perspective on I'm a cold caller. If I don't help them, the chances of the client having a bad interaction with an agent is high because a lot of agents are bad and a lot of them don't sell houses, but I sell houses, right? And I'm good and I give a shit. So if I don't reach out to them, they're going to have a bad experience and I don't want that for them. So I'm like compelled to reach out.
Yep. It's fabulous. I hear you. That's great. I mean, that's sort of the classic Tom Ferry. Every mindset coach will have that, offer that perspective, but unless you take it on and act on it, if it's not, then, you get stuck with whatever you woke up with. Right.
Right. Don't do that.
Right.
Put it in. You don't need to be stuck with anything.
That's right. Mostly people are just stuck with what they wake up with.
Yeah.
Versus actually thinking something through or creating something. So good for you. Excellent, Jennifer. All right. Well, I'm totally down for donut economics. I can't wait to be back on Fight Club with you someday. Let me know if there's anything else you want to fight about. And
always.
We will talk to you later.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks,
bye.
Man. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Abundant Life Podcast, brought to you by Christine & Company and eXp Realty, the global online brokerage powered by top agents and cutting-edge technology. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. Your hosts have been award-winning brokers Christine Andreasen and Aaron Hendon. For more on them, visit christineandcompany.com.